Okay, hi guys. So in the previous lecture, we saw the derivation of the x, which is nothing but the concentration of products at any particular point of time, which we found out was equals to kt. So in this graph, which we draw with x on the y-axis and time t on the x-axis, we can see that the slope would be equals to k. This is nothing but the graph of concentration of products at any particular point of time. Similarly, the concentration of reactant, or specifically the concentration of A, can be written as A minus X. So AT, or the concentration of A at any point of time t, can be written as A naught minus KT. Now, if we draw the graph of concentration of A with respect to time t, then it would be a downwards straight line with slope equals to minus k. Now let's define what is half-life. So half-life is nothing but the time in which the concentration of the reactants decrease to half of its initial concentration. So in the previous derivation, where we found that x is equals to kt, and the concentration of A at any particular point of time t can be written as half of A naught, because at half-life we have defined that the concentration of reactants decrease to half of its initial concentration. So now if the initial concentration of A was A naught, now at time t, or half-life, or t half, the concentration of A would be half of A naught. Now just equating, or rather putting the value of AT as half A naught in the equation, which says that AT would be equals to A naught minus KT, hence half of A naught would be equals to A naught minus KT. So from here we can derive that T half would be equals to A naught upon 2K. So here we have assumed that the volume remains constant, but in case that the volume does not remain constant, then you should consider that you should calculate the half-life of any reaction considering the amount of the reactant should be halved at the half-life. Okay, so here we are considering the concentration of the reactant goes to half at half-life, but if the volume is not constant in any gaseous reaction, then you should consider that consider the half-life based on the basis of amount of reactant. Okay, so, and this we have already discussed in our previous set of physical chemistry lectures, where we saw that at constant temperature and pressure, volume is directly proportional to the number of moles, and in this case V final of the vessel would be equals to NF total, which would be the NF basically would be containing the moles of reactants which are left in the reaction after the reaction took place, and added with the number of moles of the products which are formed at the end of this reaction. So NF represent both of them, and divided by Na represents the initial number of moles of just the reactants. Now let us define what's the completion time. So completion time is the time in which the concentration of the reactants decreases to 0. Okay, so at T completion we would have X equals to A, and we already know that the concentration of A at any point of time t can be written as A minus X. Now at completion time the concentration of reactants decreases to 0, so we can equate AT with 0 here. So from here we can get X equals to A, and we also know that X is equals to KT, so from here T completion can be written as A upon K. Okay, so as T completion can be written as A upon K if you draw the graph between the concentration of A with per unit time, or with time t on the x-axis, we can see that the intercept initial concentration of A would be capital A would be small a, and as the time passes at time t equals to A by K, the concentration of A becomes 0 and the slope would be minus K. So in this case we can see that T completion would be twice T half. So with this we come to the end of this lecture. In the next lecture we'll be seeing the same derivations for the first order reactions. So we'll meet in the next lecture. Till then, good luck and goodbye.